Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm gonna be giving you part 6 of What If Naruto was the same age as Itachi. Remember to get this on the 300 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was transported to the Justice League world and enjoy that over an Anime King too. And also guys, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, so without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, as Naruto went to go and see his friend Shisui, who told him to meet him, as Shisui was just there standing at the cliff edge, Itachi then arrived as well. As Shisui exposed to them, one of his eyes were missing. They were confused as Shisui told them that it was Anvu's. They had the Anvu coding of Konoha, but they were different masses. They attacked him, they pinned him down, there was a lot of them. As he took out most of them, but they managed to get one of his eyes. He knew as long as he did these eyes of his, how dangerous they were, people would always be after him. As he jumped off the cliff after saying his goodbyes, shocking Naruto and Itachi as they rushed over to Shisui, but it already went underneath. As Itachi's eyes changed the moment Shisui jumped off. As Naruto was investigated by the Uchiha police force, but he acted like he did not know anything, as it was a determination between him and Itachi. Act like they did not know anything, but he was really sad on the inside, as it came pouring out when Uncle held on to him. Sometime after that, Itachi took the initiative up to himself and decided to wipe out the clan. As Naruto was passing by, he was going to visit Itachi as he just came back from a mission late, as it's been a long time since they spoke since the incident with Shisui. As Naruto arrived just in time, bursting in to stop Itachi from killing his mother, as he just killed his father. Everyone else in the clan was dead except for Sasuke and Mikato. As they rushed their way outside, as Naruto was furious as Itachi trapped him in a Tsukiyomi. As Itachi wanted to explain so badly to his friend, but he just couldn't. And on that night, he left the village. Within that time skip, as Naruto managed to get the mark off Anko, using the help of Hana as she poured her medical ninjutsu into it. As Anko was finally free, when she came to, she kissed him out of pure joy. As that kiss turned rather heated, and things changed quickly after that. As Hana had been walking by, she apologized and quickly made her way off with some giggles. Within that time skip, as Naruto and Anko woke up in the same bed. They have been dating for some years now. As Naruto has grown up, he was 19 years old. As he said goodbye to Anko, he made his way towards the tower as Harrison told him that it was time he left the Anvu, and this wasn't a question. As Naruto has been in Anvu for 7 years now, and that is more than enough. As Naruto has performed and done things that most other Anvus never did in history. Yes, he was the top at everything, the most mission records, the most completed missions and everything. Yes, he was the best captain out there, but it was time that he finally left Anvu. So he did, and promoted someone else to captain. As Hiruzen told that he had to take a ninja squad from the academy. As Naruto decided to take the squad. As he made his way there. As he was Team 7, the leader of Team 7. With Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and also Uchiha, little sister, was there as well. As they made their way, as Naruto gave them a test, he created a clone as he told them to dispel this clone. If they did not dispel it in 1 hour, they would lose and they would go back to the academy. So yeah guys, so basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it for yourself. So, what do you say begin this new episode? The test had begun as the 3 Genins flashed away. The clone simply walked over to a tree as he sat down, as he pulled out a scroll. Sasuke was a bit pissed, as the man was reacting like he was a weakling or something. He wasn't even paying attention at all. Something else was bothering him as well. Sasuke couldn't place it, but his new sensei seemed so much familiar. He made his way as he crawled trying not to make any sound, as he draws his kunai. As Naruto was still there, just looking at the scroll, not paying any attention, his ego swelled high, that his hiding skills were good enough to trick a Jonin sensei. As he dropped down from his position, as he was ready to strike, he thrust down with as much power as he could with the kunai, but Sasuke blinked several times in shock, as Naruto used the end of the brush that he was using to write something on the scroll to block the kunai. How was that even possible? Taking off guard, he could not defend, as his legs were swept out from underneath him. Catching himself at the last moment, he lashed out with his leg, but Naruto simply blocked it with the end of the brush once again. Pushing back, he flipped and landed on his feet, as he saw the amused look on the clone's face. I hope you aren't taking it easy on me, just because I'm a clone. As the clone looked around. Just you, he said. Sasuke was confused by the comment, as he rushed forward the same way. He just needed to lick one blow, and then you become a genin. A real genin. Naruto simply sighed as he watched Sasuke rush forward. Do not underestimate me, Sasuke said, as his attack became blurred as he was moving as fast as he could to his two female teammates, as they watched in awe in their hiding spot. Naruto merely chuckled as he uses one hand to block Sasuke while looking around. Oh, don't worry, I'm not. But this is good. You're coming at me with the intent to kill. Now if only Naruto ducked as Ame fly right over his head, knocking right into Sasuke, not expecting their sensei to duck. By the time the both of them untangled himself and got back up, Naruto was gone. Watch where you're going, dope, said Sasuke, as she didn't mean to get tangled up with him. She just wants to help. But Sasuke was already gone before she could finish, as he was hopping in the trees, trying to find their sensei so he can get that blow, so he can finally become a real genin. His teacher was obviously very powerful. He needed that power and nothing was going to stop him from getting it. As he entered a clearing to see Sakura, lying unconscious in the middle of the ground. He didn't particularly care what happened to her, but she must have come in contact with Naruto. So he made his way and shook her shoulders, trying to wake her up. She opened her eyes. Before, there was that glint in her eyes. Oops. You fell for my trap, Sasuke. As Sasuke looked at her gaze as he looked down where her feet was tangled up in a stack of ninja wire. He was then yanked as he dangled upside down by one foot. He looked around as Sakura burst into smoke, revealing a transformation Naruto. What did the original tell you? I can use chakra, remember? With that, he saluted as he dashed off into the trees, leaving a pissed off Sasuke. A few moments later, Naruto found what he was looking for as Ami was walking, her kunai gripped in both of her hands as she looked around. Well, at least she hasn't. The clone jumped away as a barrage of kunai sailed in the spot that he was at. The moment he landed on the branch, it broke under his weight as he had to flip off in a roll. A few moments later, he had to dodge Ami's desperate swings of kunai slashes as she attacked him, but her combat skills were lacking badly in compared to the Uchiha. As Naruto sidestepped her, as he pulled the kunai out of her hand, he spun her around as her back hit the tree as he stabbed the kunai right into her clothing, pinning her right against the tree. Nice try. Almost got me near the clone's head, and with that he vanished once again, as Ami struggled to get free. Okay, just one more left. According to her file, she was Kunoichi of the year. She should put up a good fight. As he found her running. Best grades of the year, huh? Let's see how she handled Genjutsu then. It wasn't his strongest subject, but at least passable. You didn't grow up with two Sharingan users and did not pick up anything. Sakura was making her way through the trees, making her way in the direction where she last saw Sasuke heading in. She already realized there was no chance that she could land that blow and let them win this test, so she was going to offer whatever help she can to Sasuke. She nearly shrieked as the next step that she took, her feet started to sink into the ground. Her eyes widened in surprise as she tugged on her leg, but it simply pulled harder into the ground. Soon her other leg started to get pulled underneath as she started to panic. A few moments later, as Naruto was standing over her unconscious body, her mind having gone through the shock of being suffocated underground by the Genjutsu. Naruto rubbed the back of his head confused. Well, that was unexpected. I thought for sure I toned down the Genjutsu, as the bell then rang, signaling the end of the test. Time skip. Well, that was... Naruto paused as he looked at his three fresh genins. Two of them were tied to the post, while Sasuke was sitting there glaring at Naruto, as Sasuke was pissed off that they would be sent back to the academy, as Ame and Sakura seemed disappointed as well. I had expected a lot more from you three, said Naruto. At that, Ame looked up, some of the sadness disappearing, as it was replaced by annoyance. How? You don't even know anything about us, she said, as Naruto pulled their three fives out of nowhere, something that he had a knack for. As Uncle said it many times, it just seemed like things just pop up. On the contrary, I know more about you than you think, but apparently, not as much as I guess. I knew blindly not to trust academy reports, but I had better hopes for you three. As he turned to Sasuke, Sasuke still had a scowl on his face. You were supposed to be Rookie of the Year, yet when you attacked me, you let your emotions get the better of you. Not only that, but you fell for a simple trap. Sasuke looked away, grunting disapproval, as he couldn't meet Naruto's gaze anymore. Likewise, said Naruto, you were the Kunoichi of the Year and you fell for a simple genjutsu. You were concerned for your teammate, but you let that cloud your judgment. In the real mission, that would get you killed, and get them killed as well. Like Sasuke before she looked away, obviously ashamed of her performance. I honestly expect a lot better from you, especially considering who your parents are. You know my parents? Naruto raised an eyebrow. In confusion before he smirked, of course. Your old man was my father's main competition for the seat of the Hokage, along with Orochimaru of the Sannin. None of them noticed a small, quick flash in his face when he said that name, Orochimaru. Wait, you're the son of the fourth Hokage? Naruto nodded, as he turned towards Ami, who spoke. And you are Uchiha's sister, right? She nodded, as she had already saw her two teammates got chewed out, and she was dreading her sensei words about her. You know Uchiha? She said. Uchiha was one of Naruto's best friends along with Hana, in the Anvu, as he had plenty of good memories with the purple hair, sword mistress. Of course, your sister was the one to properly teach me Kenjutsu, said Naruto. I still don't know if I can beat her in a straight Kenjutsu match, he said, as Ami smiled and praised her sister, before Naruto's gaze became more serious. Yet, I didn't see much of that in the way you perform, at all. Don't you have a sword, he asked, a bit confused. Ami shook her head, a sad look in her eyes, as she refused to meet his gaze. They never taught it in the academy, and Uchiha is also always busy with her Anvu work, and I don't want to disturb her. As Naruto then turned to look at the entire group, well, in any case, your performance as a team was very poor. Your individual skills are just barely passable as Genin's, even if Sasuke's skills in Taijutsu is above average. There is no way I should pass you three. This time, all three of them hung their head in defeat, even Sasuke. Although, said Naruto, the three of them looked up here and that. Lucky for you guys, or maybe unfortunately, I see potential in you three. I expect you three to be here this training round, 8 in the morning. I dislike people who are late, he said, as he mumbled something under his breath. The only thing they heard was Teiko, as he gave them a wave and started to walk away. Wait, Sensei, if you're going to pass us, why did you tie us to this tree? Naruto simply smiled, before just flashed away. Time skip. Naruto slumped down in a chair in his father's office. Well, it couldn't be called that anymore, seeing that he has moved out most of the things. The only thing that was mostly in there was a Hiyori, with the red flames at the bottom, and a few seal designs that his father left half completed. Nowadays it was filled with hurried and quick sketch of his ceiling when he was younger. As Naruto looked over the ceiling, as he felt a bit saddened that he had let his Fuinjutsu staggered a bit while he was in Anvu. As he reached for the nearest sheet, it was a bit dusty as he coughed, as he blew dust away. A small smile passed along his lips as he traced the small design. He was just reaching for a small ink brush and a voice called out from the doorway. I remember that one. The Kunoichi seal, right? As he turned to see Uncle staring at him. Yeah, I was going to update Jiraiya pregnancy seal for the Kunoichis out in the field. His was too tough to remove on short notice, even for someone who knew how to deactivate it. Uncle made her way in as she wrapped her arms around him. It still is, you know, she said, as she patted her side, as he was a small seal array there. As Naruto leaned back, as the both of them shared a kiss. Why did I stop working on it, said Naruto. Uncle slipped her in a chair as she sat down. You left on short notice for a mission in the land of hot water. You didn't come back for 3 weeks. When you did, you threw yourself in the train your taijutsu, and you didn't come back in here since then. As Naruto frowned deep in a bit, as he lost a teammate on that mission. As he was still new to the Anvu, his mask shiny, and his uniform pressed and clean. It was Naruto's job as a captain to keep them safe. But he wasn't fast enough, he couldn't be everywhere at once, no matter how hard he tried. Maybe I should start working on it again. It wasn't really a question to be answered, but Uncle chose to do it. As she slapped him playfully on the chest. Never mind that though. How'd it go with the kids? As Naruto sighed. That bad, huh? Asked Uncle, as she ran her hand through his hair. I wouldn't call them bad, just... He sighed once more. Uncle simply chuckled as she shifted and sit more comfortable on his lap. Why couldn't I get Jennings that are more, you know? She raised an eyebrow as he failed to come up with an answer, as she poked him right in the forehead. More like your team, she said. I mean, come on, at their age. I was leading people twice my age on A-rank missions. Itachi's master Sharingan beyond anything the Uchiha has ever seen since Madara, and Shisui. Master Shunshin to a point that he got a moniker because of it. Uncle sighed thoughtfully. Naruto, you can't have your expectations too high. When you were Jennings, Konoha was still recovering from the war and the Kyuubi attacked. We were fast-tracked to our education and immediately thrown through the field. These kids aren't us, she said. I mean, come on, you seen Kakashi, child prodigy, don't intend to come out well-adjusted of most people, she said. So what are you saying, that I'm not well-adjusted, he asked. Well, you mean beside that massive hero complex of yours, your obsession with your father, and also your inner fear of women. Naruto blinked in silence as he looked at her. I'm not afraid of women, he said. Uncle burst out laughing as she nearly fell off his lap. Oh please, I swear you'll still shudder every time we walk past that red-haired baker in the market street. Just what the hell did your mother do to you anyway? As Naruto grumbled something under his breath. Well, what about you? What about me, she said. I'm the picture of a well-adjusted kunoichi. As she coughed her chin and gave him a sweet smile. What about that exhibitionist streak of yours? As Uncle blinked at that, as she looked on the clothes that she was wearing, it was just a top and an underwear. I swear if I was around here to tone you down, you'd be walking around in a mesh shirt and nothing else. She pouted and crossed her arms under her breast, not exactly helping her point. I'm not that bad, Naruto snorted as he poked her. And you're obsessed with dango, he said. Well, you're obsessed with ramen. You pick your teeth with senbon, he said to her as she came closer. You don't know how to use a damn door. As the both of them stared at each other, as there was a silence. Before the both of them started to kiss, as they lost themselves in their passion. Time skip. Almost an hour later. What exactly were we talking about again? Said Naruto as the both of them were on top of the table. Uncle chuckled at the question. Oh, you know, just how you have serious mommy issues, while I'm an awesome person, she said. Naruto simply chuckled, as he pulled himself up off the table. But she wrapped her arms around his waist, trying to pull him back in. Come on, Uncle, I have to report to Hokage that I passed my team. She sighed while she released him, as she walked off completely naked, as she stopped at the door. I suppose, you can't keep grumbling about how late Kakashi is all the time, and coming yourself late. Naruto picked up her bra and threw it at her. I don't always grumble about Kakashi, he said, as Uncle chuckled. Sure, just add it to the list, as she made her way towards the shower. As Naruto sighed, but he smiled anyways. Time skip. As Naruto decided not to flash the Hiraishin tag that he had waiting in the Hokage's waiting room, to show Uncle that he can use a door. But not even 2 minutes later, as he came through his door, he had to duck as a blade passed over his head. As he quickly ran up the wall and pulled the Tonto from behind him, as the person leapt towards him, as the both of them clashed. But Naruto was stronger as he pushed her back as she flipped and landed. As Naruto's sighs, the purple hair just flew in the wind. Why didn't you tell me? As Naruto slipped his Tonto back into the sheet as he hopped to the street, as opponent did the same. Hello to you too, Uchiha, he said. Uchiha reached up and removed her mask. Teiko, she said. I'm not your Teiko anymore, said Naruto. She simply clicked her tongue as she placed her hands on her hip. That's funny. You didn't tell me anything. It was short notice, Hokage's orders. And you were on a mission at the time. And you couldn't have told me when I came back 2 days ago. I have to hear from Hayate of all people, and he's not even in the core. Naruto-san just kept on walking towards the Hokage's tower. I've been busy. Hokage-sama made me a Jonin sensei. Uchiha followed after him, her arms crossed across her armor. I know, Ami told me that she got the Naruto Namikaze for her sensei. Hearing that, Naruto chuckled as Uchiha cracked a smile. She didn't even know who I was earlier today, he said. As Uchiha shrugged, as some of the tension left her shoulders. As Naruto noticed as he was told that he was a hard man to stay angry at. Well, that was Uncle, and that was after they had sex. So did it count? He wondered. What can I say? She's impressionable, said Uchiha. Yeah, I noticed, said Naruto. Uchiha was about to say something, but she looked up to see a hawk circling above them. As she was being called away, she put on her mask, but she pulled her blade and struck forward as Naruto blocked her blade with his own. We're not done here, Teiko. You better take good care of my sister, or I'm coming for you. As she then sheathed her blade before vanishing in the sunshine. As Naruto sighed, as he just Kakashi felt, when he continued to call the man Teiko, as he wondered if this was Ensui Sensei feeling when he first took on them. Bothersome, said Naruto. Time skip. Come on girls, just 5 more, said Naruto. As Ame and Sakura looked like they were about to drop at any moment. They were panting heavily, and their arms were just swinging at their sides. Sensei, why are we just running, said Ame, as she completed her set, as she collapsed on the floor, as she was breathing heavily. A few moments later, and Sakura joined her, sweating as well, in exhaustion. Yeah, shouldn't we be doing team exercises, or something, Sakura asked. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And right now in this team, you two are that. Ami winks at the brutal way he just phrased that to them. As Sakura couldn't even look up because she was so exhausted. That's why Sasuke isn't doing this, he's far ahead of you on that front. As he motioned towards Sasuke, who was sparring against the shadow clone of Naruto. But Sasuke-kun is the rookie of the year, Ami said, as she recovered rather quickly, as Naruto noticed that she was more fitter than Sakura. So, do you really think any shinobi you face will care about that, Naruto asked? I'm going to bring you two up at the same level as Sasuke, so as a team, you can support one another, as he ran a hand through his hair, or so that you can survive long enough to become Chunin. He smiled at the girls before his eyebrow twitched as he heard Sasuke snorted. As he looked, as the clone punched Sasuke right across the clearing. To his credit though, Sasuke flipped and landed on his feet, a distance away. You think something funny, Sasuke, Naruto asked. Sasuke just scowled as he rubbed his stomach. Suddenly, the clone poofed away, as a hand rests right on his shoulder. I hope you weren't belittling my teaching method for the girls. Sasuke jumped away instantly, as he nearly tripped over his feet. He's so fast, Sasuke thought. But Naruto was no longer. He spun just in time as that fist was coming towards his stomach. He knew he couldn't dodge, so he pulled himself back to lessen the blow. As Naruto punched him in his stomach as he stepped back, but he was still on his feet. You know something, Sasuke, when I first saw your profile, and I knew I would be training Itachi's younger brother, at the mention of that man's name, Sasuke's eyes narrowed dangerously, and for a second there Naruto swore that he saw a red glance in the orbs. I thought you would be a lot like him. Sakura and Ami looked over from the training ground, a word for the boy that they had a crush on, but at the same time they couldn't do anything, they were still exhausted. But Sasuke didn't want to hear anymore as he rushed forward as he started to swing, punches and kicks. But you know Sasuke, I know you for less than a day now, and I know that you're nothing like Itachi. As he swatted aside a spinning kick, as Sasuke flew over his shoulder. Itachi wasn't as powerful as people made him out to be, but he knew what to use. He knew how to use everything to get a greater advantage. As he grabbed Sasuke punch, as he grabbed Sasuke's leg that he lashed out with, as he spun Sasuke and threw him straight across the clearing. He knew how to keep his head in the most stressful situations, never let his emotion cloud him. At this point, Naruto was sure that Sasuke was listening, as Sasuke speed through hand signs, fire style, fireball jutsu, as the thing scorched the ground as it passed over. But Naruto was no longer there, and Itachi was always aware of his environment. Sasuke tried to move, but Naruto grabbed his shoulder from behind and smashed him down in the ground. He tried to pick himself back up, as a feet pressed him down into the ground, making cracks appear underneath him from the force. Suddenly, the sound was blocked out, as Naruto leaned over as he made eye contact with Sasuke. But Itachi was a traitor. Don't become like your brother. Sasuke winced to the pressure on his chest, but he grinned out with gritted teeth. Who the hell are you to tell me that? I was your brother's teammate, said Naruto. Sasuke's eyes widened as it all suddenly clicked. He remembered why Naruto's face looked so familiar. As Shisui and this red-headed boy always came over to eat with them. Sasuke was still young at the time, so he barely remembered, but he remembered that boy joining them, playing ninja, shuriken practice. Tomato Head. Naruto flipped Sasuke back onto his feet. I hate that stupid nickname. Shisui would always laugh at me when you call me it. Sasuke was shocked that his sensei was the very same boy that would go toe-to-toe with Itachi and win most of the time. At this point, Ami and Sakura walked over, sensing that the fight was over as they recovered enough. Sensei. While Sakura quickly went over to see if Sasuke was okay, Ami looked at her sensei in confusion. But Naruto smiled at her though, as he reached forward and ruffled her hair, much to her annoyance. Don't worry about it, me and Sasuke just had something to talk about, okay? Ami looked uncertain, but she looked across to see Sasuke, as he returned back to normal, looking fine. As Naruto gave her a smile, as he looked back to the rest of his team, as he felt like he could actually do this now. Alright, I think I gathered a bit on you all today. As they were confused, all the girls did was run, and Sasuke sparred with him, and the man barely broke a sweat. Sakura jumped to attention, to the firm but warm voice as she met her sensei's eyes, quickly. You have an excellent grasp on chakra control, and you're obviously the type that think before acting. Normally, I would say that is a dead giveaway for the cryptanalysis department, but I think that would be putting your potential to waste. You have the makings for an excellent genjutsu specialist, or a combat medic with the right training. Sakura seemed surprised, but she was internally happy to be praised like that. However, she immediately felt dread when he said that. I suck at all that fine control stuff, so until I find someone that can help you along, I will work on your stamina and increase your chakra reserves, because that is where you're lacking at the moment. As Sakura's shoulders slumped, as she thought of more running. As she then got a thought. You got all of that from just watching me, Sensei, she asked. Nope, said Naruto, leaving her confused. As he then turned, Sasuke. As Sasuke seemed to snap out of his daze, to the revelation that Naruto was the same red-haired boy. It's fairly obvious that your taijutsu and ninjutsu are both strong for future growth. But I wouldn't neglect genjutsu. A lot of ninjas have become powerful from that art. As he gave Sasuke a meaningful look that was missed by the two Nobiche. After a moment, Sasuke nodded. For now, I'll work you on those areas. I'll also be working with you to unlock your Sharingan. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're behind. Sasuke scolded at that, but he was right. In his clan status right now, he was a late bloomer, which infuriated him to no end. Ami. As he turned to the purple-haired girl, who had been avoiding his gaze up to this point. Like Sakura, you're lacking in both chakra and stamina reserves. But your body is more physically adapt to combat. So that is what I'll be helping you working on. And that is my specialty. As he grinned at the three Genins, as he saw the team that they could become. Right then, we'll head on to the mission decks and collect our first mission as Team 7, okay? Even Sasuke perked up as they start to walk off, but Ami felt something on her shoulder as she turned, as her sensei was holding up a long, thin katana. Here, I know what it feels like to stand in the shadow of your family, but the people you look up to are supposed to be past. I'm not telling you you shouldn't learn Kinjutsu, but you should not rule it out just because your sister uses it, as Shinobi has to use every advantage they have. As Ami looked up at him, before reaching as she accepted the blade. She had often held her sister's swords, but they were too heavy for her. But this one, it felt perfect. Thank you, Sensei, she said, as he gave her a kind smile. As she immediately ran away, rushing after her teammates, clutching his sword to her chest. As Naruto chuckled as he walked after her, wondering what the first mission of Team 7 would be like. Time skip. D rank. As Naruto looked at the Hokage, as the man gave him 3 folders, as he glanced through the files. Patent fences, manual labor at a farm, catching a runaway cat. These weren't missions. These were chores you get a neighbor kid to do. For a few Ryu. Ah yes, I suppose you never come across these missions before, Naruto. I believe they were instigated after your team became Chunin. The first mission Ensui took them on was a C rank, and that was a real mission. Not one of these jobs, but he wasn't one to question Hokage's orders. And if he said these missions were appropriate for a newly made Genins, then who was he kidding? Seriously, Hokage-sama? These aren't missions. How could anyone rationalize using ninjas for these tasks? These kids should be getting experience, not learning how to paint a fence. As Sarutobi was popped on a pipe, as he was quiet for a few moments. Could I talk to you for a few minutes, Naruto? Said Sarutobi. As the man to Sarutobi's right, with a scar over his nose. Hokage-sama, we still have... Sarutobi raised his hand, cutting the man off. It's okay, Aruka. I will only take a moment. As he walked to the other side of the mission office, Naruto quickly on his heels. As he simply looked through the window. Hokage-sama, said Naruto. Naruto, do you know what I feel when I look out in this village every time? Down on a peaceful, and dare I say, happy village. As Naruto was caught off guard by the question, but he glanced out as well. As he noticed what the man was talking about. Pride, he said. As he could see the look in Sarutobi's eyes. Yes, Naruto, pride. I do feel pride as I look out on the legacy of my mentors that I have helped to maintain. But more than that, I feel unease. I feel unease because I know that this peace can only be temporarily. It can never last forever. I have seen so much, I have lived for so long. To ever believe that this peace will stay forever, I will leave that kind of idea to my successor. We are different from them, Naruto. We are shinobis, molded by hotter temperature, hotter water pressures. And while those water pressures and temperature might have created better blades, they also made them easier to break. The conflict on Hokage is an odd one. On one hand, I want everyone in the village to be safe, and I wish for everyone to remain happy. For that, we need strong shinobis to protect us. On that, I do not wish away the childhood of those shinobis. I'd rather them stay blessed and innocent. What I am saying, Naruto, in this time of peace, allow the young ones to hold on to what innocence they have. We relics of war are still there to watch over them, until they come, for them to accept it, and probably even surpass us. You know, my old sensei, the second Hokage, once told me that the only true way to learn about oneself is to teach others. It was why he made it a proposition that all Hokage take on a student or a genuine team before they can be a candidate for the position. Naruto's eyes narrowed the message that the man was sending him, but Hokage simply walked off. as he had a small smile on his face, as Naruto made his way over. Now where were we? Painting fences, farm work, or catching Tora? Time skip. Sensei, this is boring, said Sakura, as she blew her hair out of her face. She was sweaty, damp and dirty, not to mention the scratch from when they had to catch that damn cat. Right now she was wrist deep in the earth pulling out vegetables that may or may not try to pull her back in. Yes, Sakura, I heard you the first time, and the second, and the fifth, as Naruto was up in a tree, as he was doodling on a scroll. Sasuke has remained quiet through most of this, but a sarcastic thought came to his head. Why aren't you helping though? I mean, aren't you supposed to be a team? Well, the mission briefing asks for a team of Genins for the task. I am a Jonin, you see. So, it's always important to stick to the mission parameters. Say Su-chan, said Naruto. Sasuke eyebrow twitched at the irritating nickname that his sensei gave him. It reminded him far too much of his cousin Shisui. Sasuke recently decided that he didn't like his cousin Shisui all that much anymore. But it is pretty dull, sensei. Even training is more exciting than this, said Ami as she came from a shed. As Naruto slid off the tree as he landed, right on the muddy ground, and to their surprise his feet was firmly on it. He didn't even sink a bit. But without them, how would I teach you all these important lessons? As the three of them glare at him. What lessons? All we've been doing is stupid chores. As Naruto tilted his head at the pink-haired girl, like he was confused by her words. What are you talking about, Sakura? Didn't you learn a lot about your teammates as you hunt down Tora? As she was about to retort, but she stopped. And that brings me on to the most important thing I can teach you as your shinobi teacher. Everything is training. That's it? That's your big revelation? That everything is training? As Naruto grinned and nodded his head. I could never teach you something more important than that. As Amiden spoke. But what do you mean, sensei? How is picking vegetables or painting a fence training, she asked. As she purposely left out Tora because that was training. That stupid cat was so damn hard to catch. Simple, even though I'm training, keeping my feet above the mud, with the surface, clinging exercise. You all be a lot less muddy if you thought outside the box just a little. Even painting, the fence just shown you how much time it will save you all if you just work well with your teammates. At that, Sasuke looked down, like he just realized something so simple. This applies to everything he said, as Naruto grinned at him. Everything, Sasuke said, as he went through hand sign, as he blew out a thin streak of flame in front of him, hardening the mud at his feet, as he started to jam his hand into the ground and pull out the vegetable. Well, at least he get it a bit. Sensei, as Naruto looked down, what's a surface clinging exercise? Asked Ami. Time skip. Anko didn't even look up from her book as Naruto walked through the door, as it was midnight as she was curled up on the couch, as she listened to him as he took off his vest and his armed guards. Before she spoke, he didn't even notice her there. There was a reason she was one of the top infiltration specialists amongst the Jonins. If you're having an affair, she better be damn sexy to miss movie night. As Naruto froze in place, as he noticed a movie box on the table. Crap. Anko snorted as she popped her head up, as Naruto could see her as she looked at him with a dangerous look in her eye. Crap is right, what's up? You're not usually this forgetful. As Naruto groaned as he made his way over, as he placed his head down on Anko's lap and sit down, as she started running her hand through his hair. This Jonin sensei thing just keep getting better, you know? Did you know that they didn't even teach a tree walking exercise at the academy anymore, said Naruto. Really? Weird, Uncle said. Actually, you know, they might never have taught it, said Naruto. I learned it from Dad, and you learned it from me. I always assumed that Shisui learned it from Itachi. And Itachi was... Naruto paused, as Uncle see the look on his face when he mentioned his rogue friend. He's Itachi, Uncle said, as Naruto nodded. The name alone, just by speaking, it was filled with so many conflicted opinions. Well, in any case, now I have to go through everything the academy didn't teach his kids and fill in the blank. Who knows what other kind of basic knowledge has been left out of their education. Tonight alone I had them running up and down trees, so we can get everything fully tomorrow morning, and then we can go on towards water walking. Uncle nodded as she ran her hand through his hair even more, as she lost herself already. But she heard the last part. Oh, so you gonna ditch me for 2 genuine girls, she asked. Why, Naruto Namikaze, I had no idea that you were a lolicon. As Naruto looked up as Uncle had a hand on her heart with a tear coming in her eye. I suppose you must consider me hideous with these curves, she said, as she ran her hand across her body. Of course, said Naruto, after all. I mean, what am I supposed to do with them? They aren't any good as handholds. I mean, as he lifted them up, they just seemed so heavy and useless as he released them. I mean, what of their purpose, he said as he started to poke them. They don't even taste all that good, he said. As he leaned down, you see, he said, as Uncle shivered at the touch. She immediately grabbed his hair and pulled him up, as she kissed him. As she then pulled him away from her. You miss movie night. Well then, I guess I have some making up to do. Damn right you do, she said, as she pulled him close again. Time skip, as Naruto did his clones, practicing with each of the members, as he was teaching Ami with Kinjutsu herself. As Ami was currently in a stance, holding the blade like that up for a long while, it really became heavy. Better, said Naruto, but you would need to recognize the slight flaws before they become ingrained in your stance. When you practice, make sure to make what you're doing feel comfortable, and don't seem forced, and don't feel forced either, because as long as you feel smoothly, it should be fine, he said, as he smiled, as Ami dropped her stance, as the katana was really getting heavy. Naruto was about to say something else, but a voice echoed across the clearing. Yo, Team 7, what's up? Long time no see. As Naruto looked over as another Genin team came, as a boy with a puppy on his head was the one that spoke. What are you doing here, Kiba Baka? A tip mark came on his head, but it wasn't him that responded. It was the one that looked like a Burmese. Why? Because we come to train, of course. It's only logical, considering we're in the training field, of course. Oh yeah, definitely a Burmese, an Aberme and an Inuzaka. And then there was a young Hyuga girl. The pale white eyes was a dead giveaway. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize another team was using. Oh, it's you, Namikaze-san. As Naruto noticed their team leader, it was a woman that he met on the first day of assignment. Kurenai. Oh, Kurenai-san. Naruto is fine, he said. So your team came to train, did they, he said. How about a few sparring matches? It would be nice to know where my team is in the grand scheme of the year. Kurenai seemed thoughtful at the suggestion. A few minutes later, all of them were there except for Sasuke and Shino, who was out in the field even more. Until Naruto whistled. At that, Sasuke blurred away, as it even surprised Kurenai, as Shino released a burst of insects around him. Whoa, Sasuke got a lot faster. What they didn't know was that Sasuke was using the surface clinging technique to provide extra grips and using circle control to manipulate and enhance his muscles. He has been honing it over the past few weeks of non-stop D-rank missions, using everything that they got to train himself, because Naruto told him that everything was training. But the others in Kurenai's squad could only nod at Kiba comment, thinking that he just got fast. A few minutes later it was over. Shino managed to stop Sasuke a few times with his bugs, but Sasuke was just too fast, and Taijutsu was Shino's worst subject, and he quickly got knocked down the moment Sasuke got him. Kurenai seemed a bit down that one of her Post Genins were defeated so easily. As Naruto was extremely proud of Sasuke, speed was his thing, so to see Sasuke used like that, he felt proud, and he didn't went too far like humiliating his opponent. It seemed like all the talking was working, as Kiba and Ami went out there. But Kurenai tugged on Naruto's sleeve as he turned. Are you sure about this match, Naruto? Kiba was one of the more powerful Genins of this year, and Ami was... Naruto raised an eyebrow. Dead last, he said, as Kurenai just nodded. As Naruto chuckled, don't worry about it too much, Kurenai-san. Ami has progressed a lot since then. As she mumbled something. What? Said Naruto. Oh, I said Kurenai. You should call me Kurenai if you're letting me call you Naruto. As he tilted his head and gave her a grin, as a small piece of pink appeared in her cheek. Sure, Kurenai, he said as he turned back away, not noticing Kurenai hide her blush. Out in the field, Kiba started complaining about the matchup. Come on, why do I have to get the dead last? Kiba said. Ami eyebrow twitched as she placed her hand in her katana and pulled it out. I'm a different person than the one you graduated with, Kiba Baka. Kiba snorted as he set into a lazy stance, showing that he wasn't even taking her seriously. Oh please, so you got a sword. I won't even need Akamar to beat you. As Akamar jumped out of his jacket and rushed over, as Kurenai picked him up, as Naruto glanced at Kurenai amusedly. But she turned her head quickly, as Ami shot forward in the field with a sudden burst of speed that surprised Kiba. But still, he flipped over to the side. Damn, first Sasuke know you. What is that guy giving you guys to make you so fast? Ami grinned from where she back off too. You shouldn't be so surprised. Naruto says he's the fastest man alive, after all. As Naruto rubbed back of his head as they all look at him. He never remembered telling his team that. Kiba rushed forward as he matched with Ami as they engaged in Taijutsu and Kenjutsu. It was quite clear that Kiba was a superior fighter, but with Ami reach, she was able to back him off with her blade. But he started using claw and nails to divert the blade, throwing her off balance. But Ami then grinned as she revealed a tag under her feet, where she had started the match. Instantly, Kiba was blind as the tag lighted up the place as he clutched his sensitive eyes, as Ami rushed behind him and struck out with her blade. with a blunt part to knock him out. But Kiba ducked low as he still had his senses, as he knocked away her leg as she flipped and landed on her back. As he grabbed her arm, forced her into a position where she had to submit or have her arm dislocated, as that ended the match. As she made her way over, feeling sad, thinking her sensei was going to be... No, he was not disappointed at all, as he ruffled her hair. That was great, Ami. Good use of your surroundings. Despite him ruffling her hair and messed it up, she flushed with pride hearing that from him. The next match was Sakura versus Hinata. Despite her speed increase, Sakura was unprepared for Hinata's brutal Jayuken strikes. In mere seconds, she had Sakura's body disabled as she was walking off the field with that same look all Hyugas had. To sideboat, Naruto and Kurenai were frowning. She went a bit overboard. Naruto was going to show Sakura how powerful, as serious Kunoichi should be at her age, by pairing her with the Hyuga, but this might already shatter her confidence in her skills. Well, I suppose I should get Sakura over to the hospital then. As Sakura wins, the big Kunoichi picked her up. As he looked over the other girl, that was just unnecessary. Wait, Naruto, said Kurenai. I was thinking, seeing that we're all new Genins, I was thinking maybe me, you, Asuma, we could all get together and talk about our teams and see what we're missing, if we're missing anything. Sure, how about the Dangaya tonight? I need to get Sakura to the hospital, so if you get Asuma, I'll see you there, he said. As she nodded, as he went off. Wait, the Dangaya? You like dango? Let's just say I had the acquired taste for the stuff. As he stopped, if I might ask though, what's wrong with that girl, he said. The way she acted in that match. As a sad look came on Kurenai's face. Please don't hold against Hinata. She used to be such a sweet and caring girl. But the Hyugas quickly saw to that. I think the final straw was to have her fight her little sister, so she wouldn't have the cage bird seal. Her dream was to once unite the two branches of the Hyuga. That was the kind of person that she was. Hayashi just made her realize that she could not do that with a seal on her head, and she's never been the same. With that, she made her way off. That's horrible. As Naruto turned, as it was Ami that spoke, even Sasuke seemed a bit angry by that. That is what it is to belong to a clan, I'm afraid, said Naruto. As he led his team off to the hospital, as Sasuke had a frown in his face as they made their way. Time skip, Naruto smiled as he ducked on the flap to Dangoya. As he got away from the owner, as he smiled back, the man had learned to be polite and friendly to the boyfriend of his best customer, as he learned that Anko is a rather unpredictable kunoichi, and she didn't take insult to the things that she loved and cared about very well. There was one time that the man had spilled red bean paste over him, and Anko refused to go there for a month. Of course, that meant she had Naruto running over to the next town to pick some up. As he spotted Kurenai and Asuma, and he waved over to them as well. As he went over and slid into the boot, as he sit right beside Asuma, as he missed a slightly disappointed look on Kurenai's face, as he didn't even have to order, as they knew what he wanted. Asuma then tried to light his cigarette at tiny fire jutsu, but Naruto blew it out. They don't allow smoking in here. Then why did I even bother coming, he said as he put it away. We're here because I thought as new Jonin sensei, we should get to know one another, maybe coordinate a bit, said Kurenai. As she smiled brightly, but she realized her gaze was on Naruto a bit too long, as she coughed. For the Genin, of course, she said. Sure, I don't see why not. Might actually get my guys a bit motivated. Tuh, as if he said. Oh yeah, said Naruto as you remember. I told a friend they could come by, if that's okay. Kurenai and Asuma simply shrugged, not really minding that it only meant more idea to handle their Genins. In fact, I think Uncle should be here any moment now. As Naruto looked behind to see if Uncle has arrived. As Kurenai and Asuma wondered where they heard that name before they snapped their heads toward each other as their eyes went wide. Oh, if it isn't Thorny and Smokestack. As they turned the voice as Uncle hopped over the boot, as she had dango in one hand in a plate and one stick in her mouth. You know them, said Naruto, as she pulled the stick out of her mouth after finishing the dango. Yeah, I've been on a mission with them. Thorny really comes in with illusions, make my job a whole lot easier. As she picked up another dumpling and eat, her words came out muffled, only had to take out my top once. A tip mark appeared near his head, but he quieted down. He had accepted Uncle's position of being an infiltration, and he was going to make that argument come up once again. I think I was pretty drunk though, she said, but she was doing it just to take Naruto off. But she was going to get a rise out of him. And Asuma? Oh yeah, he's pretty good with those fire jutsu of his. When he isn't, alerting squads of Kumo ninjas to our position with those dead sticks. Asuma eyebrow twitched as he muttered under his breath. It was one time, he said. So Kurenai said Naruto, you want to talk about the Genin teams? As the ice was already broken, with Uncle being there. As Uncle swallowed the dumpling that was in her mouth. Oh, the kiddies, Uncle said. You know, I've been wanting tea for some time now, but every time I ask, the Hokage said it's not my time. Whatever that means. The three of them looked at her, before turning their head back to each other, like if she hadn't spoken. Yes, I saw how that spar between our team was. As Uncle groaned in annoyance that they were ignoring her. I was hoping we could organize something a little more permanent. Shino has always been a hard worker, but I never seen him train so hard after being beaten by Sasuke. That's right, huh, said Asuma. You got the Uchiha kid, didn't you? Damn, getting Rookie of the Year is pretty lucky. As Naruto nodded, he saw all of his Genin with potential, so he was going to outplace one of them. But you got this generation, Inoshika Trio. That is nothing to scoff at. Their fathers were a legend, after all. Approaching the fame of the Sanins. Yeah, they might have their father's potential, but all that means is, I have a lazy genius who loves to watch clouds rather than do anything else. Some shy monster that can only manipulate with food. And a bossy, mind walker who knows a bit too much about human psychology than a girl who's fit her age. As the three of them laughed at that, as Asuma pointed at Kurenai. Well, you want to talk about talent. Getting three, major clan kid, two of them are ears. That is just cheating in my opinion. Plus, you got the Hyuga girl. I hear she would have been top Kunoichi if her grades had been more consistent and reflected towards the end. Kurenai looked down after hearing that, a frown in her face. Feeling the awkward tension, Uncle switched topic. So what's it like having a Genin team? I bet it is good to boss them around. You know that you've lead missions as team captain before, right? Said Naruto as he looked at her. Yeah, but that is with Chunin, they're no fun because they do everything you say. I bet the Genins have a little fight left in them, she said, with a sadistic grin. As each of them looked down their drinks. As Naruto thought of Sasuke, Asuma thought of Ino, and Kurenai thought of Kiba. Yeah, you can say that. All three of them said at the same time, as they all start to laugh. So, anyway, Naruto said, you want to organize some team events like spars? As Kurenai nodded. Sounds like fun to be honest, I can't motivate Shikamaru for anything. Maybe this would help. I guess I'm free most Thursdays, maybe. As he looked up at Naruto and Kurenai, as the both of them looked thoughtful as they nodded, agreeing with the suggestion. Well, great, plus it'll be good practice when you enter them in the Ek. Asuma was cut off as Naruto scrambled over the table, passing by Uncle. Wait, Kakashi Teiko, he said. He didn't stop. Oh, sorry. I've been looking for him for a few days now. Thursdays, right? I'll see you guys there, throwing door 19, he said. And with that he vanished in a blur of red. Yeah, he does that sometimes, said Uncle. As Asuma got up. Well, this was fun and definitely a good idea, but I guess it's my cue to leave. As he coughed in his hand before looking at Kurenai. Well, unless you would like to go to dinner with me tonight, Kurenai, he said. She blinked, hearing his question because her eyes were still fixed on where Naruto left off to. Sorry, I'm busy tonight, she said. His posture slumped a bit at that, but he shrugged it off. It wasn't his first rejection after all. As he nodded politely, as he grabbed a cigarette after he left the building. As Uncle turned to talk to Kurenai to see the woman looking on the table. With a familiar expression, a grin came on Uncle's face. So that Naruto, one of a kind guy, huh? As Kurenai nodded, she blushed instantly, realizing what she did. Come on, we're both girls here, said Uncle, as she poked her in the shoulder. Kurenai sighed before a small smile appeared on her lips. It's just pretty rare to find such a young, powerful shinobi with such confidence, said Kurenai, as Uncle nodded, as she took up her steak and drank it, trying to calm the smirk on her face. I went through my Chunin years, hearing about what he did in the Anvo, well, the declassified missions anyway. Plus, when I look in his eyes, it is like he can almost see right through me. Almost like I'm staring at some crystal, reflecting everything back at me. But in 1,000 different ways. As Uncle was stifling, not to burst out laughing. As Kurenai reached for her tea. Naruto said that you were friends. How do you know each other anyway? As Kurenai sipped her tea, giving Uncle the perfect opportunity. Oh well, you see, I'm kind of his girlfriend. As Kurenai spit out all of the tea, making Uncle burst out laughing. Meanwhile, Kakashi Teiko, said Naruto, as Kakashi turned, as he turned the book in his hand. Oh, Naruto, how's my cute, not so little junior today, he said. Ignoring that, Naruto got straight to the point. I was wondering if you mind coming by one of my training sessions and help out one of my students. Oh, that's right, he says. He put away his book. You got yourself a little Genin squad. How's that working out for you? Well, pretty well, Naruto said. They seem to be coming along just fine. Now that I think about it though, didn't you leave Anbu so you can pick up a Genin squad? I never seen you one before. Kakashi got an eye smile. Oh well, none of them met my expectations, and it didn't really feel right, you know? You were too lazy to take one on, when you realized how many work it would be, right? Kakashi shrugged it off. Well, the Hokage told me that maybe this time I should step back I let some of the younger Jonins have a crack at it, you know? He got tired of you saying perfectly. Good journey back to the academy, didn't he? Asked Kakashi chuckle, not looking her in the eye. So, you said you had a journey that you needed help with. Young Sasuke finally unlocked those Sharingan of his. No, this isn't about Sasuke. When the time comes, I'll be able to train him perfectly in Sharingan. You forget who my teammate was. And how much I trained with them. This is actually about Sakura. I was wondering if you can give her a ground in Genjutsu. I mean, you picked up almost everything. In your time, to be honest. And aside from a few basic ones. I'm really terrible at it. Really? The teammate of two Uchiha is terrible at Genjutsu, said Kakashi. I thought you'd have picked up the basic through sheer proximity. Naruto simply shrugged as he remembered those times. Shisui. And Itachi was trying to teach him about the importance of Genjutsu. But he was focusing on his speed back then. So, will you help me with her, Naruto asked. I don't know, my little junior. I'm an elite Jonin of this village, you know. After all, my time is pretty valuable. As he wiggled his one eyebrow, Naruto reached into his pouch. Fine, I was hoping that you'd be a bit easier, but I should have known better. As Naruto pulled out something, Kakashi's one eye went wide. This is... Kakashi grabbed the object from his hand. A first copy of the Uchiha violence. A girlish scream escaped from his throat before he calmed himself and coughed. I mean, this isn't supposed to be out until next month. So, where did you get it? He asked. It was supposed to be a gift for someone else. Jiraiya, keep on sending me the things for some damn reason. For a moment, Kakashi looked hurt at his book. His favorite book being referred to such a way. I suppose I can find him something else though. Still, said Kakashi, just one book for my services. Naruto flipped over the cover. It's signed by Jiraiya. Done. Kakashi steadily closed the book. As both him and Naruto shake hands. As Kakashi ran off, just vanishing. Idiot. I didn't even tell him when or where to meet. Meanwhile, so, Naruto is your boyfriend then? Kurenai gulped. As she tried to rid her cheeks of the flush, as Uncle continued to laugh in her hand. Uncle was laughing a bit too loud, and almost half of the bar was staring at them, but Uncle didn't seem to really care. As she finally calmed herself, yep. As Kurenai nodded, waiting for Uncle to say something else, but Uncle did not. So, what's that like? Oh, that's nice, said Uncle, as she picked up the dango and slowly ate them. As Kurenai knew that she was messing with her, as Uncle just swung her hand around Kurenai's shoulder. Oh come on, Thorn-chan, you really need to light up a bit. I'm just playing with you after all. Who wouldn't be attracted to my kick-ass boyfriend? As Kurenai sipped some of her tea. As she wanted to leave, but Uncle's grip was tighter on her shoulders. So how did you two meet? Kurenai said. She also wanted Uncle to stop calling her Thorn-chan. Oh, funny you should mention it. It's a pretty romantic story actually. As Kurenai was a person for romantic, so she would like to hear. You see, we first met at the academy a few weeks after Kyuubi attack. So at that time, he lost his family. Of course, I was a bit of a half-wit back then. I saw this flaky red hair sitting up in the corner, and I just felt like I wanted to rile him up. So I spent the rest of the day messing with him. I wasn't really getting a reaction out of him, so I followed him outside to see him walk up the academy building. It shocked me. That was a pretty advanced skill for a fresh academy entrance. As I made my way up there by the stairs, and I saw him sitting down eating his lunch quietly. Naturally, I wanted to give him a shot by sneaking up on him. That wasn't a good idea, seeing that he was on the edge of the roof. Now that I think about it, well, I was a half-wit back then. We sat for a bit and we talked, and he offered me some of his bento, because I did not have one. Then of course Uncle stopped. Oh, anyway, to make a long story short, 5 months later, and I was living with him. She smiled, as Kurenai was confused. And what? Said Uncle. Where's the romantic part? He shared his bento with me. We were 6 women. What do you want? As Kurenai's cheeks flushed up again as she turned her face. But Uncle slightly punched her in the arm. You know what? You're okay, Kurenai. I think this is the start of a beautiful friendship. As Kurenai groaned at that, well, at least she stopped calling her that nickname. Oh, more dango. Scoot over, Thorn-chan, said Uncle, as Kurenai groaned. But guys, if you end this episode right here, if you want the next part, if you know what to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Transported to the Justice League world, and enjoy that guys. I posted over an Anime King 2. And also guys, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you all for your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.